The United States will work to rally international support around that effort while also making our own significant contributions, including some that I'll announce later today. We'll work with our partners closely with all to ensure that Hamas does not benefit from the reconstruction assistance.
Azzam Tamimi, who is a scholar and an academic, he currently lives in Jordan, but he's a Palestinian, author of a variety of books on politics and religion in the Middle East. Dr. Tamimi, always a pleasure to have you on. From what you've heard so far, there doesn't seem to be too much detail in Biden's plans. Is there anything new that you've seen?
Not really. I mean, we've heard the same sort of American language that we've been hearing for the past 30 years or so. You see, the thing is that until and unless the United States of America and its Western allies recognize the real problem in Palestine, they're just messing with the Palestinians. They're just wasting their time. The problem is not with Hamas. I mean, he's eager to say, we are going to make sure that Hamas doesn't get any of the funding. You go to hell. Hamas doesn't want your money. The problem is with Israel. Israel is an apartheid regime that should be questioned and brought to account because of the crimes it has been committing. But all they have to say is that they understand Israel's right to defend itself. We are far away from getting to the point where the problem in Palestine will be recognized for what it is.
Thing is, you and I have spoken over the course of the past few weeks, and we always come down, it seems, to the same point, is that while governments are maintaining their positions, their historical positions, there seems to be a rising global movement of citizens who are demanding that those governments change their historical positions. And that could be the pressure that has led President Biden to send Antony Blinken to the Middle East, because there is a rift at the moment in his ruling Democratic Party, and those progressives, as they call them, seem to be pushing the President of the United States in a direction towards finding some sort of peace.
I agree with you. I mean, those of us who are old enough to remember what happened in the early 90s, when at the height of the Palestinian Intifada, the entire world became worried about Israel and what was going to happen. So they started working for a settlement somehow. And they brought in the PLO and turned it into a Palestinian Authority to help them solve the problem. You see, today we have two levels of action. We have a level of action that is conducted by the majority of the Palestinians, as well as by the supporters of justice and peace around the world, through boycott, through calling for sanctions, through demonstrations, through lobby, etc. But then we have another level of action, which we've seen during the recent confrontation, and an increasing number of Palestinians today believe in it, and that is armed struggle. Armed struggle has been revived, and it has been revived because of the atrocities committed by the Israelis, the failure of the Palestinian Authority, and the failure of the international community. So I think this is where we are heading. And this reminds us of the very last days of apartheid in South Africa. This is what was going on then.
Well, the difference with apartheid South Africa may be that Israel doesn't seem to have an F.W. de Klerk in charge. It doesn't seem to have a leader who is prepared to compromise, to safeguard a minority. And why would Benjamin Netanyahu agree to any of Hamas's demands when he himself is under pressure domestically trying to become the next prime minister of Israel? Why would he, the man who increases illegal settlements, agree to Hamas's demand that those settlements should not be happening, that those settlers should be moving away from Palestinian lands? That's not going to happen, is it?
Well, most probably Netanyahu is not the man. I don't think he is qualified to play such a role, because he only thinks about his seat in government. But whether it is Netanyahu or somebody else, it's not out of their goodness that they decide to recognize and acknowledge the plight of their victims. It is out of a change in the balance of power. And this is what our people have realized in Palestine. This is what the Arabs have realized, the Muslims and many supporters of Palestine. They've realized that unless the Palestinians are empowered to bring Israel to acknowledge their plight and their rights, nothing will happen, nothing will change.
Dr. Azzam Tamimi, thank you so much indeed. Really appreciate your time.